Hey everyone, we're back out at my client's. Today we're going to do another spring inspection, but this time we're going to be using my progression mapping tool. So I'll show you exactly what that means. This is going to be part one in a series so that you can see the progression of the process. This is beyond taking notes, simple notes on your bees. This is notes on steroids, so you're going to want to stick around. Okay, so we're out here in the Beak Jeep today. Got the blanket in the back for the pup. He's not here at the moment, but he was playing in there earlier. That's pretty much irrelevant to anything that we're doing today. Got my smoker. Let's go ahead and go light this thing, open up some colonies, and start mapping the trajectory of these two colonies so that by the time a month is over, we will see where they're headed. Okay, so we're going to be mapping some things today to show the progress, growth, and trajectory of our hives over time. It's going to make a lot more sense as I show you the information we're filling out today. We're going to go into this hive and do it with this one. However, this tool is made to be able to map 2 to 3 colonies. I've got my colored pencils here, my mapping in this because it's a windy day. My smoker's lit, so let's go ahead and bust open this hive. And actually I'm getting ahead of myself. The first part of this tool is to help the beekeeper realize what's going on outside first. So let's go ahead and get out the first part of this and fill it out. Hey pup. All right, so first of all, up top is where we put in the hive ID, the one that we're keeping track of, location, however you like to keep track of your colonies. The month and year go here, and these are the dates. This is the first half of the month, and I have an identical one of these for the second half of the month. And so today's the 5th of March, and so we're going to be using this column. You can see I've already started mapping another colony. We're going to do the weather in green. Today we are overcast, cloudy, and windy, just like yesterday. So that's what I'm going to fill in, both of these blocks. And these 3 things, weather, rainfall, and forage availability, directly affect everything that goes on inside of a colony. That's why I'm marking these 3 environmental elements. All right, we've had 0 rainfall today, and we're not due to get any, so I'm going to leave it blank. And our forage availability, I'm going to put, well, we've got options. There's no forage available, there's minor sources available, or there's major sources. The major is when we're on a honey flow. We're also not in a dearth. We have minor sources coming in of maple, dandelion, henbit. So that's what we're going to fill in. And then we're done with the weather, the 3 main elements, influences. And we're now going to work on to the next part, which I'll show you as soon as we get the hive open. Off the quilting box. Tell you, that's looking good. They've got just the last bits of their mountain camp up here. Their hive alive off to the side here. I'm going to peel that back. Sit this somewhere where the bees can still come out of it without getting hurt. And give them some smoke. All right, let's move this shim. And so here's what we're going to be looking for in this colony. And now, you saw me use 2 different colors on the other side. Now when it comes to actually keeping track of specific colonies, you want to choose 1 color for each colony to keep them straight. And that's why you're able to maintain records for 2 to 3 on one of these. So the first 3 things we're going to be looking for that are directly affected by those 3 external influences are the presence of eggs, their rate, the brood production, the rate of its production, and the brood area, volume. How many frames of brood do they have? And so we're going to mark it here on the 5th, all of these, and then after this we'll move on to the last form of information. So these bees are not starving. They're not going to need the rest of this mountain camp. It's in my way for inspections, so I'm going to be removing it and you see it came up as one piece. These bees can stay on it. I'm just going to put this somewhere where they can fly off of it, right up front here. And now I can start working into the colony. I love to remove the outside frame first, especially because it's so easy to remove and I'm not putting any queen at risk. This is a bare frame. They never got drawn out last year. I'm going to set it to the side. And we're going to work our way in. Again, another frame that they barely started drawing wax. Now we're going to be getting to some meat. That is a heavy frame. They came through with resources. All right, so capped honey. Everything else around that is open nectar. This is a heavy frame. On this side, they've got a lot of capped honey, and they've filled in the area there with open nectar that's incoming right now, likely from maple, and then maple pollen around it. Usually pollen like this indicates that the next frame is going to have brood on it. And that'll help us start to check out the first element we're supposed to measure, and that's the presence of eggs. There either is there are no eggs, there's some, or there's a lot. It helps us kind of gauge the rate at which the colony is building. And on this frame right here, I've got a nice, fairly solid pattern of capped brood. I see larvae, and I see eggs all the way out to the edges, surrounded by pollen. This side looks the same. There's my queen, marked in blue right in the center. And so my personal gauge of egg presence in this colony is going to be a lot. So I'll show you how I would mark that. Put her safely back in there. And for this colony, I've chosen this blue. And so again, we're on the 5th. Here's a lot of eggs. So that's what I'm going to fill in for them. And the next thing is their brood production. The velocity at which they are producing is either not very fast or they're dwindling. That's what the snail means. Tortoise, which means they're steady and maintaining, and usually that's a result of not a lot of resources available, but enough coming in to help them maintain things, but not necessarily grow. And then there's rabbit fast, which means they're really moving. Now this is spring. I can already tell by what I've seen that they are growing quickly. So all that's left on this sheet is to count how many frames of brood they've got. All right. I'm gonna give them a little smoke because I'm gonna remove this sugar now. And this could irritate them. And I don't want to deal with irritated bees today, and I'm sure they don't want to be irritated. There we go. All right, this was the frame we just had the queen on, so that's one frame of brood. And you could count this depending on however you want to. You could count half frames, full frames, partial frames. It's just to measure the growth rate of your colony. It's nothing to get like super science-y about. All right, so you see that right there. We've got a good solid pattern of capped brood. The open in the middle, right in here, is full of eggs. Again, just confirming that they are growing at a faster rate than not. Same pattern on this side. That looks real good. Ooh, I love it. So that's 2 frames of brood and a 3rd frame with brood on it. Very heavy with resources. Brood on both sides, all 3 stages. Plenty of food. Wow. And I can see on the next frame there's no brood on that. Now we're running into honey and more honey. So we've got 3 solid frames of brood. And we are in the beginning of March. So what I'm going to do is start putting things back together here. Real gentle, not to squish the bees. I look down in between to make sure they're not between the end bars. And turn the frame. Now we start making some notes. Notes on steroids. Okay, so again, grabbing my color that indicates this hive, coming down the 5th, they've got 3 frames of brood in a single deep. So next time I come, let's say 7 days from now, I'll be making a different mark, and I'll bet it'll be 1 or 2 more frames of brood. But I'll be able to see their increase. Now, we've got that. This is something that we mark so that we can understand and learn from later. All we do right now is collect the information. So we're on the last sheet now. Let me show you what I've got on this one. So again, there's always marking the hive ID and location. You can put as many colonies up here as you want, the month, the year, and first half of the month. Now we're going to measure the adult population, the density, like where there are a lot of adult bees. And I indicate it with these battery marks. So that's like a dead battery, not a lot. They're charging, which means they're maintaining, they're kind of growing, maybe. And of course, that's going to be full charge. The bees are definitely growing. Let's go ahead and mark that because they certainly are. Next, are they building comb or are they not building comb? Another way to choose how to mark this is, are they whitening the comb? And I really didn't see any of that. I didn't see any comb building quite yet because they haven't grown out to those outside frames that need comb. But I also didn't see them whitening up any comb, but they didn't really need to. So I'm going to mark no on this, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Next thing is, do they have enough space? Space adequacy. It's either a yes or a no. Now, they're growing, but they still have room to grow into. I don't need to add any boxes. So, do they have adequate space? Yes, for now. Next one is resource placement. And again, let me give you an idea of what these things are we're filling out. This is the population and structure. It's how the colony translates its resources. So, resource placement. A colony either places resources around their brood on a brood frame, on the peripheral of the brood nest, on the outside frames, or above it into the honey supers. And we're not at that time of year yet. Right now, they're putting open nectar on their brood frames and kind of around it. So I'm going to indicate both of those. This tells me what their intentions are, which way they're moving, and what state they're currently in. Now the last thing we're going to be filling out is their reproductive and expressive signals. Do they have drones? Are they making them? I didn't see any drones in there, and I didn't see any drone brood. So they have not yet decided that they can express their reproductiveness with drones. So I'm going to be marking no on that. Do they have any queen cell activity? It's either no cells, supersedure cells, or queen cells. I saw no queen cells, no supersedure, so we're going to mark they have no queen cell activity. And this way also, in a few days, like if I forget what I saw, I'm going to be like, no, they had no intention of swarming. So I know that they're not swarming at least anytime soon. And the very last thing we're marking today is the expressive outcome of this colony. Were they happy, meh, or not very happy to see me? They definitely were not aggressive. They were not meh. They've got a really good attitude. And I think it's because of everything upstream of this. This is a result of all of this. I mean, think about it. When you've got money to pay the rent, the bills, you feel good. You're not stressing out and you have a sense of relief. And the bees are the same way. So there we go. That was easy. I would just do the same thing again. Next time I come, use the same color per hive. And this gives me a way to not only keep track of my bees, but with relevant records. Like the temperature doesn't matter. If it's warm enough to get in a hive, great. If it's not, you're not. So this is why I call it taking notes on steroids, but it's like not in a complicated way. It's in a way that is relevant so that you can begin to correlate why it looks like in here the way it does. And it's because of what's happening outside the hive. Okay, so I forgot to give them their fondant patty. Anyways, I'm going to put this back in here. I'm going to bring you back for part 2 and 3, 4, maybe even 5, so that you can watch the progression of this colony with me and be able to see the benefits of how we can begin to correlate why we see what we see in a beehive, instead of it just always being guesswork, which I know that you don't like, because I don't like it either. I like knowing what I'm doing and what's going on. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. I'll see you in the next video. Hive Doctor out.